back from a trade mission where he is selling Virginia's products. He has been tirelessly working to create jobs, expand health care, and guarantee quality education for all Virginians. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my good friend, His Excellency, the 72nd Governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, Terry McAuliffe.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. We all fired up? I first want to thank our great Congressman Bobby Scott. We are so blessed here in Virginia to have a great congressional delegation, but it is really special to have someone like Bobby Scott, who has been such a great advocate. I cannot tell you how many times on a weekly basis I reach out to him to help us do what we need to do to protect our military assets and all the issues we have here in Virginia. So I want to thank you, Bobby Scott. He's always had a great place in my heart, because you may or may not have known this. In 2009, I ran for the Democratic nomination for governor. I lost by 25 points. However, I had two elected officials step up and endorse me. My chairman was Bobby Scott. So I want to thank Bobby for the foresight, and also Ken Plum is in the audience, who was the other one who actually endorsed me. And at the end of the day, I lost, I came back, and now I am the 72nd governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia. Think about it. Patrick Henry, our first governor, give me liberty, give me death. Thomas Jefferson, our second governor, and now Terry McAuliffe. Are you kidding me? Is this not a great country? Mayor Tuck, honored to be here in the greatest city in America, here in Hampton, Virginia. Since I'm here, it is the greatest city. And I would be remiss, and I know that our chair of our Board of Education for Hampton and our superintendent of schools is here. I would be remiss if I did not congratulate our leadership here in Hampton in the education, because they have just seen their school accreditation go from 41 to 55%. So give them a great round of applause for the great work that they do. To Senator Locke and the other elected officials, I want to thank my good friend, our Senate leader, Tommy Norman, and my good friend, our House leader, Kirk Cox. You know, there are times, folks, we don't always agree. We come from different political parties. But I'll tell you this, what does unite us, and we come together on the issues, is what's in the best interest of the Commonwealth of Virginia. And that's why we're here today, and that's what democracy is all about. You see those aircraft carriers out there, folks? That is the symbol of democracy to the world. And that's what a healthy democracy is all about. And I want to thank our General Assembly members for partnership. And if we give the General Assembly members a great round of applause, I would appreciate it. To Jim Moran, who is heading up our Fort Monroe, I thank you for the great work you've done. And I see we are now joined by our former governor and senators. Mr. Allen, please stand up. Governor Allen, I thank you for being with us here today. And I do also want to thank our ambassador from Sierra Leone, Ambassador Stevens. And I know that the right-hand man for the King of Cameroon is with us, as well as the First Secretary of Angola has joined us, and I thank you. We look forward to working with other African nations around the globe as we do this commemoration over the course of the next 3 years. The 2019 Commemoration Commission, to the City of Hampton, to Fort Monroe Authority, and to the National Park Service, I want to thank you on behalf of every citizen of the Commonwealth of Virginia. You have been working since last December to plan this ceremony. It is a testament to how governments can actually, intergovernment agencies can actually work together to get things done. As you know, this commemoration will recognize three cultures of early Virginia: the Native people, early English settlers, and the first Africans. Each, as you know, has played a critical role not only in the development of our Commonwealth, but of our nation. This commemoration will share stories of how individuals and populations overcame discrimination and persecution to contribute to America's evolution and the fight for freedom and the struggle around the globe. Today, we remember the story of one group of people who arrived in August 1619 when an English man-of-war flying Dutch colors docked right here at Point Comfort, right here in Hampton, Virginia. 30 years earlier, that same ship, the White Lion, had sailed under Sir Francis Drake against the Spanish Armada. In the uneasy peace that followed that victory, the warship found new life as a privateer off the Caribbean coast. The African men and women on board were traded as involuntary laborers. A few would find freedom, after a decade of toil. At least 2 lived on the plantation of Captain William Tucker, Virginia's envoy of the Pamunkey tribe. Anthony and Isabel fell in love. Captain Tucker allowed them to get married. And in 1624, they became the parents of William Tucker, the first African-American born in the English colonies. The family that they created was instrumental, as you know, in establishing the Elizabeth City County, now the city of Hampton, where we are gathered. And their descendants today are still pillars of the community. Recently, the family came together as the William Tucker 1624 Society to restore a site that's significant not just to their community and city, but to our Commonwealth and country, the final resting place of the first African Americans. My secretary, Molly Ward, yesterday joined them for the dedication of the historic Tucker Family Cemetery in Hampton's Aberdeen neighborhood. The family and the descendants are here with us today. Let's give them a great round of applause in the back with the t-shirts on. What a special significance for us. In Richmond, we recently announced a new partnership that we are doing with the government and the Virginia Outdoors Foundation and a coalition of community organizers to restore the Evergreen and East End cemeteries. Hundreds of hours of volunteers and state employees have worked to reveal the graves of stones of some of the greatest Virginians that we did not know where they were buried. We have discovered the gravesite of Maggie Walker, the first woman of any race to charter a bank in the United States of America. And we will continue this effort. But let me be clear. And I want to thank Roland Martin for his great comments. And I also want you to know, first I want to ask the question, who's actually the Reverend in the family? But whatever. He is a great Virginia resident and lives in Leesburg, Virginia. So let's give him a great round of applause, a taxpayer of the Commonwealth of Virginia. As Roland and I were talking earlier today, and he's a big taxpayer too. Senator, he might be able to help us with a few of these budget issues. As he and I were talking earlier today, cleaning up a couple of cemeteries won't undo centuries of prejudice. But each restoration that we do stands as an acknowledgement of a long neglected responsibility. The seeds of racial discrimination took root in Virginia soil. Progress has been slow, and the Commonwealth as a whole has suffered as a result. In the Jim Crow era, the discrimination took the form of segregation, restricted access to education, and overtly unequal treatment under the law. Today, it lingers on in income inequality and the disenfranchisement of Virginians through the laws designed to suppress minorities and our voices for democracy. As we gather here today, let us all remember our history and acknowledge the truth that we still have a great amount of work to do to right the wrongs of the past as we move forward in the present. We recognize that all of us are equal citizens of the Commonwealth and equally entitled to exercise our fundamental rights as Virginians and as Americans. And right here at Fort Monroe in 1861, Major General Benjamin Butler refused to return 3 escaped slaves to their Confederate captors. In declaring them contraband, General Butler guaranteed freedom for Frank Baker, James Townsend, and Shepard Mallory, and brought hope to many more thousands of men, women, and children who were enslaved throughout the South. Progress, as you know, requires political courage. And we need each and every one of us to have that political courage to take us forward. I hope that we all take that responsibility very seriously, and we all today commit ourselves to move forward together to achieve that common goal. Today, right here, Virginia has the opportunity to send a message to the nation that we can begin a national dialogue about the ongoing evolution and how we should live as Virginians and as Americans. Now, as you may have noticed, off here we have the Great Godspeed. In 1607, 3 ships came over from England. I'd like to remind my fellow governors, in fact, I just got elected chairman of all the governors in America, and at my inaugural, I reminded them that in 1607, when those 3 ships came, the Godspeed, the Constant, and the Discovery. They didn't go to Maryland or Pennsylvania or Florida or New York. No, they came here to Jamestown, Virginia. One of those 3 ships was the Godspeed. Dorothy, Sally, and others were great to be on that ship last night. So we are now officially going to pass the baton from the Godspeed. The 2007 Jamestown commemoration is now going to pass on with a new special cannon blast to officially launch the 2019 commemoration. So let me now declare as governor. Captain, I would ask you to now clear your decks for action and open fire. There we go, folks. Let's give the Godspeed a great round of applause.
If tomorrow all the things were gone, I worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the man who died, who gave that right to me. And I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, and I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the man who died, who gave that right to me. And I'm glad we stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the man who died, who gave that right to me. And I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the
Ladies and gentlemen, that is the U.S. Army Training and Doctrine Command Band under the direction of Staff Sergeant Barry Williams. Let's give them another round of applause. And let's also give Governor Terry McAuliffe a round of applause for his remarks. Thank you, Governor. And please give a round of applause to our speakers and organizers of the 2019 Commemoration Launch and African Arrival Day event. It's been fabulous so far. Please stick around. Please enjoy all the rest of the activities for the afternoon. Please stay plugged in with us as we move this commemoration forward. And we thank you so much for attending today. I'm Barbara Ham Lee. I've been serving as your MC, and thank you. Safe travels home.